Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to you. And I appreciate you taking a few minutes and spending it with me here this morning. If you would like, share, comment on the post. And then if you would like to follow along, you can join with me in Genesis chapter 18, beginning in verse number 17. We have these words. The Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do?" We have a verse here that it's almost like we get a moment to kind of look inside of God's thoughts as he's deciding how to proceed. He says, then he goes on, he says, why this is a decision, whether he's going to tell Abraham or not. He says, "Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have chosen him that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has promised him." I want to focus on that verse. We'll talk for a moment. It's almost as if God is kind of he looks at Sodom, he looks at Abraham, he looks at Sodom, he looks at Abraham and says, should I tell him? And he looks at Abraham, and Abraham's aging now, and he looks down through time and sees what's going to happen. And as I read that, it's almost like, do I want to send Abraham into shock? Do I want to scare Abraham? I think it's not so much really that God was debating it, but we're just seeing that God's compassion, God's concern for how these events were going to play out. He's not just with no fault going to destroy Sodom. This was something that was thought through. It wasn't just a reaction. I've talked before that I say this that I would be a lightning bolt God. I would just look down. I'd be shooting lightning bolts at everybody. But this is a deliberation for God of how to do. But then he says something in verse 19 that I want you to pay attention to, especially gentlemen, those of you who are listening, the males in the crowd. He says, "I've chosen him." God says, this is why it matters. This is why it's important. Because I've chosen Abraham, that he will command his children and his house to keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice. Here we see the model that God has. Gentlemen, we are to be the leaders in our home. We have two responsibilities laid out here. First of all, that is our responsibility to God. We are to do righteous and justice. We are to do righteousness and justice. In other words, we are to do that which is right. We are to live by God's moral standards, God's moral law, and then we are to model that and to teach that to our family. One of the greatest problem in my mind that the United States of America faces today, all of our problems go traced back to the failure of the family. That our family system is decaying. It is being destroyed. We have thousands and thousands, probably more than a million, I don't know, lots of children who have no male figure in their life to follow. Some of them have male figures in their life, but that male figure is not living out righteousness and justice. And let me just say thank God for the many moms, single moms, some who are not single, but they're having to do it, who are stepping up in the absence of that male model, that male role model, and taking on that responsibility. I am painfully aware of that truth. I know that many times the church, and particularly my branch, the Baptist Church, we get ourselves in hot water over some of the positions that we have traditionally taken over the role of women, but all of us, I think, are wise enough to know that many times it is the lady in the home who steps up and fills these roles, and thank God for them. But here we see that he says it's Abraham's job. I've chosen him to command his children and his household. It is their responsibility, gentlemen. It's our responsibility to raise up strong families, to build our homes. Big responsibility, but it is a great opportunity for you and I, for the men, to lead our home, lead our children. I will tell you, and I pray that you won't take this in a as bragging or some arrogance, because I promise you it's not. I am genuinely humbled by it, and I will quickly acknowledge that my wife is when especially three of our three oldest children, I was working a lot, and we were always in church together, but she had a lot of the responsibility on her as I was working so much. But I am humbled often. It's such a thrilling thing. I look and I see, and I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying my children are perfect or are without failure. They've broken my heart a number of times, but generally when I look around and I see them in church pretty much every Sunday, working in church, doing different things, it is truly a fulfilling thing. And I'll leave you with a thought, and you've all probably heard it or read it. I can teach my children a lot of things, and they can grow up to be successful in business or athletics or whatever. But if they don't know Jesus, we failed. I failed. And so let's remember here the responsibility, the opportunity that God gives us, especially as fathers. But again, thank God for godly mothers as well. We have a responsibility to command our children and our household and to live in righteousness and judgment. You think about it. Have a great day. Enjoy your Valentine's.